Hello, I'm Beelzebub.
And I'm Unicorn Cat.
Welcome to the channel. So, good news. The Derek Chauvin, the murderer of George Floyd verdict came down earlier. He is guilty on all three counts. Unicorn Cat, do you want to remind them of the charges?
I believe there was one charge of unintentional murder, second degree, one charge of third degree murder, and then one charge of manslaughter.
Yeah. So I personally think that the unintentional murder charge is bullshit because it stops being unintentional when you're choking a guy with your knee, pinning him to the ground on his neck, and he's saying, "I can't breathe," and stops moving at all
Not
after
to
like 3
mention the
minutes.
people around them that tried to stop him. It's intentional. You knew what you were doing at that point. Wasn't it? He died after 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and he was on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. So for over 4 minutes, he was already dead, and he was still on top of him. That was intentional. But I think that he didn't get as much justice as he should. However, I haven't heard of a black man falling prey to police brutality like this get this much justice. Not saying it hasn't happened, but I personally haven't heard of it. So I still think that it's a win. I wish he would have gotten just full-blown, intentional first-degree murder. I mean, it clearly wasn't premeditated, but he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. It's definitely not justice, but I think it might be fair to say that it's a good start.
Yeah.
From what I heard on NPR, sentencing is supposed to happen later this week. Let's see. What else? Let's see. So here's something fun for you.
Fun?
Very, very heavily sarcastic fun.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi couldn't help but shove her foot all the way in her mouth, but she was at a congressional Black Caucus presser and thanked George Floyd for his sacrifice.
Yeah, that left a nasty taste in my mouth listening to her say that. Fuck her.
A nasty taste in everyone's mouth. First of all, George Floyd wasn't a sacrifice. He shouldn't have
had to die.
Yeah, he shouldn't have had to die. He shouldn't have actually had that much of an encounter with the cop. But because Derek Chauvin is a worthless piece of shit, he decided to extrajudicially execute George Floyd over a fucking counterfeit $20 bill.
Yeah, that was a death sentence. I mean, I'm all against death sentences in the first place, but for counterfeit $20, that was well overkill.
Yeah.
And she had to say thanks for your sacrifice.
Yeah. But what George Floyd should be doing today is playing with his children, spending time with his siblings. He should be
pretty sure he's married. He should be with his wife.
Girlfriend is what I
Girlfriend, partner, whatever. He should be with his partner and his kids.
Yeah, he should be knocking back beers at a bar with his friends. He should be doing literally anything else.
Instead of being dead because this racist piece of shit decided that $20 is worth a life. Not even that.
He used a pack, or he used that counterfeit bill to buy a pack of cigarettes.
I know. So it was
that
a pack of cigarettes that was his life. That was worth his life.
Yeah. Like, okay. Maybe I'm more into the idea of hands-off policing if we're gonna have. First of all, police the way it's set up in this country shouldn't exist.
Wasn't it started because of keeping slaves in check or something like that?
It's based on slave catchers.
Yeah, modern policing, at least in America, is based off of slave catchers, and we wonder why they're racist. The entire fucking system is based off of keeping black people in line.
Yeah.
We need a whole new fucking system.
Yeah, but I mean, like, policing in the military works a little differently. We don't.
It's a bit better.
Yeah, we don't police in the traditional civilian sense. If I did 1/100th of what any of these civilian cops did while I was in the Air Force, I would have been strung up by my dick on the flagpole as a lesson to every other cop in the squadron.
Yeah, that's how it should be. You shouldn't be able to go around killing people willy-nilly, especially if it's because of race, and yes, I just said willy-nilly. Do you want to talk about the girl that was?
Yeah, so because police can't seem to help themselves, around 4:30 p.m. Eastern,
Which is around the time the verdict was announced
after. Yeah, just before the verdict was publicly announced. 15-year-old girl, Columbus citizen.
So here, we're not in Columbus, but it's a hot second away from us. Like, it's a short drive, actually.
Relatively close by.
Yeah, so near us.
Probably take about 45 minutes for us to drive there right now.
Yeah.
But this 15-year-old girl called the Columbus police because she was being attacked. She needed help. She was defending herself. And from what I've been able to gather, this is all Twitter. The medical examiner hasn't.
The article you were reading to.
Yeah, well, that didn't get nearly as specific.
Yeah.
The medical examiner hasn't said anything. The Columbus Police Department hasn't made a public statement yet, as far as I'm aware.
They haven't.
But from what I've gathered from people on Twitter, like people who knew the girl, friends, family.
Her aunt spoke about it, right?
Yeah. This 15-year-old girl was being attacked. She was defending her, like actively defending herself from an attacker. Columbus police rolled up, and I have no idea who her attacker was, but they see this young black girl, and it actually has been confirmed that she's black. But for some reason, the Columbus Police Department, the officer that showed up on the scene, decided to shoot her 4 times in the chest.
Because she was a black victim who trusted the police to and that's not on her. The police should have done their goddamn job. But I really wish that she could trust the police enough for them to actually protect her instead of assume that she's the threat. And I'm assuming that's what happened. 4 times in the chest.
Yeah. So that, I genuinely
You're gonna break it.
Don't believe that the police in this country can learn a lesson.
No, we need to defund the police.
We need a holistic change. Like, every police officer in this country needs to be fucking fired. We need entire restructuring and retraining of how all of this works. And we just need a whole ass new system, because the one we've got's broken. It doesn't work.
All it does is lead to innocent people's death. I mean, there are white people who die in the hands of police too, but let's be honest, the amount of black people that are flat out murdered is nothing compared to the white people. I mean, this little girl, she's 3 years younger than me. And I know damn well if I was in her position, if I was the one being attacked and I called the police, I wouldn't have gotten shot. Yeah. Even if someone was a clear threat 4 times is not, no. But she's close to my age, and if it was me in her shoes, I would still be alive. But because she's black, she's dead.
Fuck, if it was me in her place, I'd be alive.
And you're a
I'm
big
a
man.
6'1", 250-pound man.
Yeah.
The caveat is my skin color.
Yeah, so, and you'd still be safe, but you just looking at you compared to a 15-year-old girl, you would look like the bigger threat just because you're a big guy. But
No.
You would have survived, and she clearly didn't because she's black.
I would have survived. I wouldn't have even felt threatened.
Yeah. They would have helped you. You're a cis-het white male. Why would they not?
But I mean that's clear evidence that basically, as the Chauvin verdict was being read, a black teenager is shot and killed by police. That's
murdered. Yeah. There is no fucking reason why you need to shoot a 15-year-old girl. Like, no. You don't just a 15-year-old girl who's a victim too, who is just attacked. I cannot imagine her last minutes of life. She would have been scared and petrified. She was just attacked, and the police showed up, and she thought that she was going to get help, and instead she gets murdered.
Aposta Babe, yes, Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 counts. Would you mind reminding us the charges?
I believe it was 1 count of manslaughter, 1 count of second-degree murder, and then a count of third-degree murder.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much manslaughter.
Yeah. And the second-degree one is
unintentional.
Unintentional.
But right now we're talking about a girl. We don't know her name. But a 15-year-old girl in Columbus, not too far from us, was shot and killed by police whenever she called police to help her because she was being attacked. And of course she was black. And we were just talking about how if it was me, she's 3 years younger than me. If it was me, I would still be alive because I'm pale as fuck versus her being black. Of course, they're going to kill her, not me.
Yeah.
As the verdict of Derek Chauvin, whatever the fuck his name is, was announced.
No. Derek shoves his own nuts up his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck him. I hope he gets just the maximum fucking penalty. I'm not sure what the penalty for the combination of those 3 charges is going to be.
He should at least get life, which is 25 plus. He should.
That's not enough.
He should get at least that. But you have to keep in mind too, in order for him to get out, if you get a life sentence, you have to appeal your case and shit like that. And a judge can easily be like, nah, nope. So hopefully that is how it goes. Hopefully we progress enough to where in 25 plus years, he gets a judge that says no.
Yeah.
But I'm shocked that he even got sentenced this time around because of how the black community is seen and how the case was so centered on George Floyd and what he did wrong.
Yeah.
Not what Derek did.
Yeah, actually, so much of this trial was
victim blaming.
Yeah, on the part of the defense was. On the part of the defense, so much of this case was a trial against George Floyd. Who cares if he did drugs? Who cares if he used a counterfeit $20 bill? That's the fucking past.
And that's not something you kill someone over. And even if it was he did something worthy of the death penalty, a fucking civilian police officer is not the one who gets to decide that, and they're not the one who gets to carry it out.
Yeah. Aposta Babe, right now, I think the 15-year-old girl being murdered by a police officer is only trending in Ohio, but...
Yeah, because we live like a short drive from there, so we, of course, heard of it before other people did. There were already protesters on site, too, because of Derek Chauvin, whatever trial. So there were already people there. And
well, no, this was a personal residence that it happened at.
Well, I know, but the lady on the news mentioned that there were already protesters on their way to a protest about the trial.
That's entirely possible, actually. But
yeah, of course it's possible. She said it.
The group Unicorn Cat's talking about. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Is something about mothers of murder victims.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the group offhand, unfortunately, and like I'm not sure I could find it if I went into the trending page on Twitter. Let's see. Adam Skeptic, the victim's history is irrelevant to the case of the assailant. The defense should have known better, and yet this is the world we live in. So, yeah, you're totally right, Adam, but yeah, no.
Even not talking about murder, when you go in for like a rape kit, they'll ask you how many times you've had sex beforehand. It's like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What happened to the victim doesn't matter. Like before, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the only way that question could possibly matter is if consensual sex happened prior.
Yeah. But like, you get what I'm saying.
I mean,
they do the same thing with rape, and it's like George Floyd didn't go out and ask the police officer to choke him to death.
Yeah.
Like what he does up to that had nothing to do with it.
Police officers should not be killing anyone, even if they are obviously guilty. The job of the police is to apprehend and detain them until they can have their day in court. Yes.
And police are also supposed to protect the person once they're detained too. So if something happens to someone after they're detained and or arrested, there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. It's on the police officer for letting it happen, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and as far as I know, a subject is detained as soon as the officer has what's called positive control over them.
Soon as George Floyd was on the ground being handcuffed and whatnot.
There were other officers there, if I remember this correctly. The other officer should have put cuffs on George Floyd at most, which I think is still entirely too much.
He wasn't being violent. There's no need to handcuff him. That's why you handcuff people. It's
a counterfeit $20 bill. It is entirely possible that George Floyd didn't know it was even counterfeit.
Yeah. I've given stores counterfeit money not knowing it. Now I correct it once they bring it up to me.
Yeah.
But you don't even know if he knew because he didn't have a chance to say anything.
Yeah. At most, like if I'm the officer that comes up to George Floyd, I'm like, hey, sir, you gave this convenience store a counterfeit bill. Go in with me. We'll look at it. If it is counterfeit, okay, you just pay with your debit card or something. Fuck, I'll float you the money for a pack of cigarettes. I don't care. But you get shit nuggets like Derek Chauvin, who God complex or some shit. I don't fucking know what his problem is, but he needs serious help. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a total piece of shit, but I don't think this extrajudicial killing is right, ever. I don't know. Let's see. We'll bet this would have never gotten to court if there hadn't been a year-long process. Yeah. And not to mention how many people recorded?
It was the 17-year-old. 1 second.
Let's see. Yes, Aposta Babe, you can join us. Absolutely.
Darnell Fraser, 17-year-old girl, took her cell phone out, and that was the footage. There were more people who recorded it, but her footage from her phone was the one mostly used in court.
I still think it's telling that even the military personnel who are trained in warfare would have cuffed him at most and just taken a step back. If you've ever been in cuffs, you're not going anywhere. No, you're not.
I know how to get out of cuffs. Just throwing that out there.
No.
But, like, most people don't.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, all you have to do, assuming you're one of the almost everyone else that doesn't know how to get out of cuffs, that little hand-wide chain, it's designed that way intentionally, by the way. If someone's trying to get away, all you have to do is pull it up an inch or two. And suddenly they're immediately back under control.
Yeah, and that's why it is that way. That's why all the handcuffs are specific length away from each other, and that change a specific amount, and blah, 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 blah. There's reasons for that. It's to have control over someone if they get violent or try to flee. That's why you don't use your goddamn gun. Yeah.
Yeah, and even that, I think, is excessive. All you have to do, as the responding officer, in the case of a non-violent event, is go up to the subject, which is the actual correct policing term, and, talk to them a little bit. In my case, it would be, hey, the convenience store you just bought those cigarettes at said that the 20 you used was a counterfeit. Come with me to the store. We'll look at the bill. If if it is counterfeit, okay, you'll pay with your credit card or debit card or other cash you have. Or I don't know, if you've already smoked, I guess I'll cover the fee. It's $5 for a pack of cigarettes. That's fuck. There's reports all the time of cops paying off people's groceries because they don't want people to starve. There is the occasional glimmer of hope. The 17-year-old's video is put online and went semi-viral, maybe full viral, I don't know. But the fact that it was exposed by this gal could not be covered up. Yeah. What? But yeah, I personally am in agreement with a lot of people I've seen on Twitter. The guilty verdict isn't justice, it's at most accountability. Because cops have been getting away with this shit for a long, long time. It wasn't until Rodney King, I think in the 90s. I was pretty damn young when that happened. These encounters with police started to be recorded. So how many more cases actually are there? I don't know if that can actually be quantified. But what I think we're going to do, because, Corn Cat and I wanted to keep this one short so people would watch it.
Use
The what?
Can I use the app?
Which app? Yes, you can use the app. Unicorn Cat has an app designed for autistic people to communicate when they can't be verbal. So that's what they're doing right now. It's okay. So what I think we're going to do for now, I want to continue in another live stream, but I wanted to get out these initial thoughts in this one. So I'm going to end this one, but I'll be starting another one in 5 or 10 minutes after Unicorn Cat has had an opportunity to, finish up this episode. So we'll be back. Yeah. See you in a few minutes, everybody.